Hello people, it is Monday. I was going to say it's Wednesday, but it isn't. Could be when you see this, who knows. But today I want to share some insights that I came across when I went to do some work at a coffee shop, 2 coffee shops to be exact, and having some revelations about why people buy what they buy. And it's not necessarily what you think. So I'll bring up some notes that I journaled about. But okay, I'll give you the story firsthand. So it was 12 o'clock. I just got done, finished some work at home, and I thought, okay, let's go to a coffee shop. So I went to a local coffee shop, got a Americano with oat milk. That was very nice. I didn't check the price. It was probably £3.60. I didn't really think too much about it because obviously oat milk, though it costs not much at all, it has the air of a heightened sense of luxury, whereas it's not an everyday item for most people. However, after that, I went to another coffee shop. It was a restaurant, really. I sat down and asked for a mint tea. That was £2.60. And it got me thinking, why in my right mind would I pay £2.60 for what is essentially hot water and leaves in a cup? It was 1 cup as well. And it prompted a thought that perhaps most people don't think about, but has been written, it's quite obvious actually, it's been written about extensively in sales books. Like a lot of stuff by Brian Tracy talks about this, and Russell Brunson, but it's not necessarily the product you're paying for when you enter an establishment, enter a website, enter a funnel, etc., and even a YouTube channel. You are paying not for the product, but for the experience. Now, what do I mean by this? Say the previous analogy that I shared, a mint tea, you could, in effect, make that at home for less than 50p. Yeah, most, like coffee as well, but you go to a restaurant and you order a mint tea, you order a coffee for what is essentially way above market value, 5 times above market value in this context. How do you justify that to yourself? Now, some people wouldn't pay that. Common sense, really. I don't think so. Like, I think if you pay that, it's either because you have a lot of money, or instead you are paying not for the product itself, but the atmosphere it is being served in. So it's not just the mint tea you are paying for, you're paying for the experience of ordering it, the experience of it being brought to your table, the hospitality of the staff, the seating area, the general vibe, even the clientele that are sat next to you, sat near you. Are they of a certain caliber? Are they a rung above most people than you normally spend time with? And I don't mean this in a cocky way, but the perceived status of some people is higher than others, objectively, perhaps subjectively as well. But there's a paradigm of Iman Gaji talks about this, and I'm sure many other entrepreneurs as well, but when you are starting out, go and have coffee in affluent places. Now, that coffee might cost you £5-10 even, but are you really paying for the coffee? No, you're paying for the experience. Say you go to a 5-star hotel and you order a coffee, and it's coffee really, but you are paying for the experience of having it being served to you, the experience of exposing yourself to new atmospheres, an atmosphere that is reflective of where you want to be, for example, in 5-10 years. This is the real value of it. You're exposed to another level of wealth, another caliber of person above the people you normally spend time with. And if you have ambition, this is why you would justify that, paying that price, because ultimately you see yourself amongst the ranks of these people even before you've attained that status, the level of wealth. And so you step foot in these places for the simple fact of experiencing that place, experiencing the atmosphere, experiencing what in 5-10 years may be a regular occurrence for you. And it's something to work towards, having a £5, £10 coffee. Now you have a reference point for something to work towards. Now I've gone a bit off tangent here, but the point of it is this: if you sell a physical product or a online product, maybe service, this could be an info product, could be a physical product via an e-commerce store, or maybe a brick and mortar business that sells physical products or services. You get the customer and you get the sale by the atmosphere. Now this sounds obvious, obviously, like we do this, but say if you have a cheap as heck WordPress website, you could have the best products in the world, whether these be high tier, low tier, mid tier product, but if it does not reflect the status that a person will gain from buying your products, they won't make the sale. They won't buy from you. This is why so many scam artists online will set up the best landing page, the best sales funnel for what is a mediocre, perhaps even crappy product, and people will buy because the perceived value of that product is high. The objective value may be very low, but a person has built up in their mind what this product or service will give them, whether it's increased status, increased wealth. Everything really aligns with our perceived status. If, for example, we buy a Lamborghini, we are looking for increased status from others. At the same time, if we just want a normal middle class lifestyle, we have a house and a car, and say, I don't want a Ferrari, I don't care about status. Okay, but why do you want a normal middle class life without a Ferrari? Really think about this, because if you bought a Ferrari and you had the means to, it may demote you in other people's eyes because your perceived status would go down and you want to fit into the crowd. We as humans are social animals and we bounce back people's opinions of us. That is why wanting to fit in is such a crucial part of something to lean on in marketing, because most people are sheep, and if you're watching this channel, you probably aren't a sheep because you want to make meaningful change and lasting change. But really, playing on people's status, the perceived status they will gain from your product or service, will help you make the sale exponentially more efficiently. And this comes by building more attractive landing pages, persuading them with your copy, making YouTube videos or online content, podcasts, etc. that promise them a lifestyle, whether that's related to health, wealth, relationships, that increases their status. Now, the reason you're probably watching this channel is it's something to do and you want to gain education from this. Why do you want to gain education? So you can increase your knowledge. And why do you want to increase your knowledge? So you can make more meaningful change and lasting change in areas of life. Why do you want to make more meaningful and lasting change in certain areas of life? Because you want to be perceived as high status. There's a reason why people build businesses, why they are so ambitious about getting that promotion at work. It's to increase their status. Status is everything, and especially in marketing. So you as a new age entrepreneur, I'm coining that term now, copyrighted, but a new age entrepreneur who is devoted to ecological restoration and to the health of fellow human beings, the health of our planet, and devoting our surplus resources to further the former two. That's the 3 permaculture principles, by the way, which can be applied in any business, any area of life, but especially in business. If you want to do business ethically, permaculture principles, permaculture ethics are absolutely invaluable. But when we want to make a sale, when we want to nail a customer, well, not literally, but we want to play on their status. We want to give them something that will increase their perceived status with others. Not just make them believe it will, but actually materialize it for them. And this is what I'm trying to do for you, for the people who are watching, to give them a more efficient way of producing. Because what is productivity really? Productivity is increasing our net output per unit of time. This is the most basic definition, and we do this by not following the corporate systems of productivity where it's work 12 hours on vast doses of caffeine, have no breaks, don't get enough sleep, hammer away through the night, all this what is essentially crap advice, and it serves not yourself but your bosses who really don't care about you. But instead, holistic productivity takes you into account and sees you as a whole person, as a whole human being, takes into account your physical, mental, emotional and spiritual health, and how you can develop habits that are conducive to looking after all of these areas. They say that Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi. I've butchered that pronunciation, I apologise. But in his book Flow, he coined the term flow state, by the way. He tells us that getting into a flow state is the root of human happiness. If the more times we get into a state of flow, the happier and more satisfied with our lives we become. This is why so much shallow work in the modern day of corporate jobs, office jobs, people are so depressed, and this shouldn't be how it is. This is why us as new age ecological entrepreneurs need to prioritize flow states, essentialist attitudes of, if it's not a definite yes, it's a no. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been my 2 cents. I'm Joe Peachman. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, okay, sound. If you do want to, I'm okay with that too, but I'm here to serve you in any way I can. If you would like me to make a video on anything else related to human productivity systems and taking into account the mental, spiritual, emotional and physical health of us as human beings and how to increase that, please just drop a comment in the comment section and I will respond to you and hopefully make a video of that in future. So yeah, thank you for listening and goodbye. Mwah. Bye bye.